been through a bit of a process of contacting NHS 111 and going following that process of trying to get help. Feels like recently my cognitive function has been deteriorating, and it's been something I've mentioned here a number of times, and it's been a slow sort of deterioration and an increasing one, where certain actions, like whether it's compiling a grocery list, planning out meals, ability to cook and clean, ability to talk and express thoughts, the ability to maintain social relationships and family relationships, that's all deteriorated, and the ability to think logical thoughts, process thoughts and feelings, and I'm sure there's many more things to try and describe that element of cognitive function. So it got to a point where I just felt like I needed help, so I contacted 111 and they referred me to the GP to give me a call back, and of course there's been videos about trying to get help with the GP. And I just spoke to them just a moment ago, so I thought it would be perhaps a good idea to talk about it and to try and process it as well. Overall, the GP, there wasn't really anything that could be done to help me, and again I was asked a question, is there any, I'm trying to think how they phrased it, but the question I was asked again is, what can we do to help you? And I said, I'm not sure what help I need. I just know that I need help. It's difficult for me to function every day. And I shared with them that I'm getting counselling and I'm on the waiting list for autism autism assessment, and also I'm on a waiting list for EMDR therapy, and doctor just mentioned just keep doing those things, keep going to counselling, and she reaffirmed or mentioned the assessment and the therapy waiting lists I'm on, and they asked if I worked, and I said I was not well enough to work, but I shared with them that I write fiction in my spare time. I do a podcast and I do this, and maybe it was refreshing to hear their enthusiasm. It was almost a surprise that, wow, and I guess I thanked them for their encouragement. And the doctor mentioned that, I've got a diagnosis of anxiety and depression, and I didn't realise that was an official diagnosis, but I said to them I didn't realise it was a diagnosis, and then they shared that with anxiety and depression, what I've mentioned to them about decision making, process and thoughts, it's one of the symptoms of that, and it's strange because after the phone call I felt like it was some reassurance there that they're aware of my mental health in regards to anxiety and depression, and they've linked that to the symptoms I was referring to about cognitive function, so there's some reassurance there. It was helpful to hear that, but I feel, I don't know if it's frustrated or upset, but when I'm asked a question, what is it that we can try and do to help you, or what you think you need. Like I don't know, I wish, of course, if I had them on the phone now, I'd probably ask them, I'll say, is there anything that you feel like I'm missing that I'm not doing? Because I feel like I'm doing everything I can to try and contribute to my health and my self-care, and I don't like using the word getting better. I don't know why. I guess it triggers, or it makes me feel like I'll never get better. It's just because it's been like this for so long and it's getting worse. So maybe you can just leave it as, I'm doing activities, or I'm putting in efforts to try and give myself the best chance of some sort of self-care and to relieve the symptoms. And maybe if I can use the word improve my health in some way by doing this activity such as this, writing and the podcasting as well. The doctor asked about medication, and I mentioned about the difficult experience and severe side effects I had with them, and she goes, okay, it's best, medication doesn't seem like it's an option. And yeah, I think they said there's not much else. Actually, I can't remember if they said that, but they inferred it, I guess, with the conversation, And I mentioned about A&D, and the doctor said, you won't meet the A&D threshold. So it was maybe good to know that that's not an option for me. They asked about suicidal thoughts, and I told them about the common urge to go to a bridge that I live near, not too nearby, but it's in my city. It's a bridge, and it's not a case where I'm planning to harm myself, but there's an urge of wanting just to go there to either feel something, or it's hard to describe why. But of course it's a dangerous thing to do with that state of mind. So I told him that I'm aware that it's dangerous for me to go there. So the doctor kind of reaffirmed that to say, it's good that you're aware of the danger of that and you're not doing it. So perhaps overall it was a better phone call. I think the doctor was also really there was some enthusiasm to the doctor, and there was some support, I guess, as well, which was helpful. I really appreciate it, and I think I mentioned to them, I thanked them for their encouragement that they gave to me. And it's only now I'm thinking about when they says anything we can do for you, and I wish I don't know if I can email them, but it's difficult. I was wanting them to write a letter to help with my universal credit, but number one, I'm not sure if a medical letter by them is needed, and also it feels difficult to ask because it feels like in order to write one, it feels like a GP has to know me a bit more personally, or know the efforts I'm making. And I'm wondering if that one phone call with this particular doctor is enough for them to write the struggles that I'm going through. Because I'd want the medical letter to be accurate in what I'm struggling with, and I'm not sure and I'm not sure if this particular doctor would write it, or just be given to, it would just be out there for any doctor to pick up and write. But Maybe I could potentially email the surgery. Maybe I'll write an email now. Yeah, I don't know actually. Maybe something worth to try and process. I'm just thinking what they would write in the email, in a letter, a medical letter. I guess the only thing I could probably do is just write how long I've been dealing with anxiety and depression. I don't think they can write, and I don't feel he's well enough to work. Maybe that's something I can email the doctor, especially since I've just spoken to her. Maybe it's one of those things where it's a no-lose situation. If for whatever reason a letter can't be written about my mental health and my challenges, I've only written an email to request it. So if it's denied, that's fine. And also, if it's a letter that's not that doesn't feel like it's a letter that advocates for me in regards to being assessed, then again, perhaps that's okay, as well, because it is what it is. What can you do? But at least it's something that will help to contribute to them. So maybe it's something I can maybe there's something I can do. So I may try and do that now, because so I won't ruminate about it. Perhaps I'll draft a small. Wondering right now if I should email them, or if I should make it as like an appointment thing. So on the online system you can request like an appointment, but it's not really an appointment. But maybe email's better for now. And I can write in the email, do I need to go through the online system for this request, or are you able to forward the email to the doctor? So I'd say a mixed feelings right now. I've been really stressed waiting for the phone call, because I got the phone call from 111 this morning. I requested to speak to them last night, but understandably they're really busy, which I totally understand. Things, I'm sure everything, healthcare is just very overwhelmed with people who need help. And they said, a doctor would call you within 6 hours. So waiting for the phone call was a real big drain, very stressful to have that hanging over me, especially with the stress of speaking on the phone, and to try and speaking about my health and try and explain myself. It's all very stressful. So it feels like, again, like the other GP phone call, like a lot of it's fragmented now, and the seconds tick by, the more fragmented it gets, and the more I lose the shape and the overall impression of the phone call. So again, I feel two ways about it. I feel in some ways support and reassured about the activities I'm doing, and the enthusiasm the doctor showed about that, and the diagnosis, or to say, anxiety and depression and the symptoms I'm talking about can fall under that. So but I still feel, I don't know the feeling to add, but I feel difficult feelings towards the question I was asked in that phone call about how they can help me, because I think in the phone call, I think I did say that it's difficult for me to know what I need, because it's the mind itself that is the instrument that uses, it's the instrument that obviously analyzes and processes thoughts of what I need and what I don't need, but that's what's broken. I think I shared that with them, so it's hard for me to say, but I just said I'm struggling with daily functioning, and I think the simple answer is there's nothing else that can be offered to help me, and I think the doctor did a really good job in curbing that question without saying there's nothing we can do for you, but they just reaffirmed, do your counselling, do this. So it was clear by that it's nothing else I can do. So maybe there's some positives to that, to know that I'm doing everything I can for my health. Maybe that's something to acknowledge, that I'm to call 111 yesterday or contact them was really difficult, to reach out for help, and but again, it's the other side of that is, okay, this is really difficult to live my life in this way, and another quick thing about that question of what can we do for help. I don't know if it didn't come to my mind, but it's been in the back of my mind, if there's any help I can get with my living situation in terms of, a support, some sort of a support worker or something. I don't know if that would, but maybe that would take some thought. I'm not sure if that would be something I'd feel comfortable with, because it would have to be, it feels like to try and process and analyse the question, it's just really draining, and it's almost too much for me to try and consider if that would be helpful or not, or if it's even available. I'm just wondering now if that's something I can add into the email to this doctor, whether there was some sort of support worker to help, maybe to help me clean and cook, or to be there to offer support for that. So I can try and do it myself, but they're there to. I'm not sure how I'm not sure how it works with support workers, but I'm not sure. Also, I've got to think about if it'll just make me more anxious to have someone watching over me, or someone here, since I struggle so much with social interactions, if that would just be more of a stressor for me to have someone come here. I think that may be so perhaps just to request maybe a letter, that might be helpful. And I think I'm going to do that now. I think I'm going to end this and do that now. That would be best, because I can really feel myself ruminating and getting a bit stressed about it. So it's best I tackle that now. I think that would be good.